All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the good weather block here for today. As we have a chance to relax for once, no worries on severe weather and severe thunderstorm outlooks. Finally, we are getting into a pattern change, and it starts today. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the block here on this Thursday morning, Friday Eve, if you will. Off to a very nice start, and there is certainly more positive news in the outlook than there is any type of negative. There is no escaping, though, at least some rain chances that we'll have to deal with, and these will likely change up some timing issues, and some of that timing that it's going to be changed may influence certainly your weekend plans. Okay, so I'll explain the best I can and take you through it, and we'll get into the longer term as well. All right, Janice. Hey, Janice, haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing? How are the pups? Pups are good. Dandy now lives in Oklahoma, and Dobie is still with me, but Dandy is on a big farm out there in Oklahoma, so he's enjoying his sabbatical at the moment. So, how much rain did you get, Renee? See rain total there, 1.5 yesterday. All right, that's a decent amount there. Thanks, Renee. I appreciate that. Yeah, the rain event that came through yesterday. It was first off very, very slow and evolving, very slow with the front sagging down. We didn't see a lot of thunderstorm action in the evening. You cut down thunderstorms, you cut down the rainfall rates. So we did have some decent rates, but we really didn't get into the flash flooding just the northern edge of that into counties in Indiana outside of our area. They did get into flood warnings that took place last night. But I think overall it was a decent amount of rain that passed through in pockets, but it wasn't enough to cause major concern. And I'm glad because yesterday's data was not happy about the idea that we could get some of that training effect. So the good news is we're going to get a break on all that. So for you farmers out there trying to get into the fields, I understand it's been kind of a pain here as of late. All right, let's get right into it. Here's the live view right now. This is over in Corden, where you get that beautiful blue sky. And today is going to feature, more so tomorrow, but today will feature a good bit of the blue sky. Tomorrow's interesting. The dew point is so low tomorrow. I don't know if you'll be able to find any clouds in the sky tomorrow. It's that kind of a all-day blue that we're talking about for Friday. So there's no doubt Friday is the pick day that we're talking about as far as cooler weather, not as strong of a wind, and a blue sky overhead. And it's a Friday on top of that. Great. The weekend gets a little not messy, but gets a little out of control there. All right, here's the accumulation based on radar that we've had over the past couple of days. And you can see where Kentucky certainly has picked up more of the heavier rain than Indiana has. Some of you in Indiana have not had much at all out of this entire setup and have been skipped several times. So that includes parts of Jennings County, even back into Du Bois County, parts of Orange County, even across southern Harrison County. You guys didn't really see a whole lot in the higher rain totals. It was really in the Louisville metro for the flash flooding event we had a couple of days ago. And then, of course, central and southern Kentucky have picked up the most. So we are certainly waterlogged and soaked. A lot of our farms that are out there certainly have got plenty of water now to enjoy. And now they get plenty of sun beaten down on them to really enhance the growth here the next few days. If you look carefully, there is a batch of clouds, though, to the north of us. And it does not look impressive on satellite, and for good reason. It doesn't have a lot to work with, but it is a secondary cold front that moves very close to Cincinnati to about just north of Salem. You will notice it when it moves by. When it passes by, the wind should ramp up. Nothing crazy, but I think 20 to 30 miles per hour will start to ramp up. You'll notice that wind, it will be a cooler wind, very refreshing, but it's a lot of dry air. And we had dew points in the 70s yesterday. Now we're talking about dew points this afternoon will be in the 40s. Very dry air, one of those days where you can shock yourself touching the doorknob, that kind of a setup. So that dry punch of air is going to allow the wind to ramp up. It's the pressure change between the two systems really will get noticed. As it passes through, there is a very low end chance for a quick downpour that could form along it. The first front, yes, it took out a lot of moisture out of the air, but there is still some, just a little bit, that we can't get rid of the rain chance until that secondary front moves in, and that's going to happen for this afternoon. Here is Futurecast, at least one model's idea. This is about 5:30, and you see it tries to develop some of those spotty showers or downpours, focusing more into northern Kentucky and all the way into Pennsylvania for that. So it's more of an east of 65 issue versus the western side of 65. So location is key on that as well, but it does pass on by relatively quiet, scoots on by. And we allow for a cool night tonight. We're not going to get into the 40s, but I do think 50s are likely by early tomorrow morning. So it's going to feel nice and refreshing early on Friday. But as I mentioned, Friday in general, daytime, I mean, even the modeling is just, yeah. Okay, maybe 2 clouds that you saw there. Whoops, let me back it up. About 2 clouds that you see there as we head into the afternoon hours for Friday. But man, it's going to feel really good. Okay, now the weekend. I accidentally hit the wrong graphic, so you probably got a tease of that. The weekend. Okay, we have a secondary front that's going to drop down. It will have a low pressure that will try to develop along that front. Everything's moving in a forward motion. Nothing is stalled. So that's good. The front is on its way down, dropping in across the Great Lakes, quickly heads down to the south. A low forms along that front and tries to race along it. The issue for the weekend is will the front be far enough south when that impulse moves by that it just skips us and aims more toward Paducah and Nashville and leaves Kentucky and certainly wave country alone. Or to be devil's advocate, the front is slower in its progression on sliding on by, and when that impulse moves by, it gets us with some rainfall. That's the big debate. And the modeling just is still varying this close in time on where that interaction will be. And that's not shocking given how fast everything moves. So there's going to be a lot of, there's a huge margin of error here. But here's what I'm talking about. As we get into Friday afternoon, Friday night, again, fine. We get into Saturday, you see that complex of storms into Missouri. That will weekend, but the rain blob, if you will, from that tries to head east Saturday afternoon. Now, the issue with this is that it's moving into a lot of dry air, so it should be disintegrating. So I'm not sure what the ground truth is going to be of this moving by. It may give us some rain, but it may just be some rain on the radar and then evaporates quickly before it hits the ground, which we call virga. So you end up with a cloudy sky, yes, but you don't get a lot of heavier rain. In other words, it shows the yellows and oranges there. The reality would be probably more of a darker green. So you would take the levels down on the futurecast. And we as meteorologists do that. You know, the model says this, but we know in reality of systems that move through, we have to account for the rainfall rate and deduct. So anyway, that's the idea is, yes, there is a rain chance here, but it will be a very light event as it moves on by. You see most of your thunderstorm action where the fuel is. The fuel is all back in Missouri, right? It tries to build in. Boy, it tries its best Saturday night to Sunday, but it just gets smashed down to the south. So what I'm going to do, instead of showing you a lot of different models on how this will play out, I'll just give you the general idea here. As we head into Saturday, there is a higher potential to get at least a batch of rain showers, light rain showers to move in quickly across Indiana and scooting across Kentucky. I will keep that risk lower north of Louisville. Right now, I'm not sure how far north that thing will be able to reach. So it's not an all-day rain. It literally will be just the passing of the showers moving on by. Once we get into Saturday night and Sunday, another wave moves by. That one I'm thinking is going to be a little further south, but it also has a better light rain shield with it on Sunday that could extend out, especially early in the day, in the form of some drizzle. There will be some sunshine mixed in here, but Saturday I think will be mainly overcast. Sunday I think will be a mix of rain or sun and clouds and maybe a brief light shower. So the overall idea of what I'm trying to say is the weekend doesn't look like a beautiful blue sky type of weekend, unfortunately. But it's not all bad. We're not looking at thunderstorms. We're not looking at severe weather. This is not going to be a flooding setup. This is not an all weekend rain. So there are a lot of pluses here, but there are just some things you need to be aware of in this setup. So that's why I kind of drew it that way. So I hope everyone understood all that and is cool with it. Next week. Okay. Well, another front moves by as we head into about the middle of the week. Right now I'm thinking, like what the Euro does, it moves it on by, but passes it quickly down to the south before we try to get any type of storm action to interact with it. So overall, early next week, there is going to be at least a brief window for a shower chance, especially as we into Tuesday and Wednesday. Most of us will stay dry. But the building heat is still on the table. We're going to get rid of the front. The tropics start to take over. Still a lot of debate on whether or not anything can form into the Caribbean or not, or the Yucatan Peninsula area. That is still possible as we into later next week. The Euro wants to try to pull some of that tropical moisture up our way as we head into the following weekend. We'll see, but I do think it is going to get hot. This is a classic Bermuda high setup we talked about that is setting up in the Atlantic. We have not seen that action very much this season yet, which is not unheard of. but it is going to help feed in a very humid atmosphere. I mean, get ready. It's going to be core of summer type of weather, like late July and August. That will be coming into play for next weekend. Highs into the 90s. May not get into the mid 90s yet. We got a very green ground, but I do think lower 90s are a sure bet. So I hope you guys are ready. Let me bring up 10 days so you can see it all. There you go. All right, isn't that lovely? So 81 tomorrow. There's the cloudier sky as we head into Saturday, and then Sunday again. Maybe a brief light shower in the area. I know it looks like a really bad weekend, but it won't be. There will be some sun breaks, but I'll be honest. I think that sun break action is going to be a little more obvious Sunday than it will be Saturday, but still not a washout by any stretch. And then we get into Monday and Tuesday. Nice weather again. We'll see what that secondary front does on Wednesday, but I think it'll wash out, and that's when the heat says, okay, I'm taking over. And that will build the heat all the way toward Father's Day weekend. All right. So, Ashley, is severe weather taking a break for a while? It looks to be the case. We have no outlooks. I don't see any data that points to anything severe. So this is good. We'll get a nice little break. Katie, do you think we're done with alert days for the rest of the year? No. No, we're not. It's been a busy one. We went through, I think, a record stretch. I mentioned this before, but we went through a record stretch of no alert days, and then now we went into the opposite. I think we've had a record stretch of them. Ryan and I were talking. We believe we've been in a convective type of pattern since March 14th when tornadoes touched down around Utica. The Ohio River tornado is what I like to call it because it was the only one that was filmed with the water. You remember that? It was sucking up the Ohio River. So ever since we got to that point, and then we got to the Prospect tornado, I mean, everything has just been active all the way past Derby. This may be the first full week. I'm hoping that we can avoid any type of thunderstorm action. It'll be the first time since March that's been able to happen. That's a long window, guys. That's a long, long window. We need a break, and we're going to get it. Let's see. Actually, my pumpkins need the rain. Yeah, I know. My sunflowers aren't doing good, so they need a lot of sun. Okay, I'm going to end it there. I think you guys are good. Get outside and enjoy the weather. All right, don't watch. Get out there and enjoy the setup today. It is beautiful. And I will have an update and see how things are trending coming up on midday. Okay, guys? And I'm out tomorrow, and I'm out Monday. So I'll see you here on the blog Tuesday.